Just another cold dynamic effort squat day. Hello and welcome back to the Fox Strength and Performance YouTube channel. I am Taylor Fox and I'll be bringing you training footage commentary. So this was a session from Sunday, January 14th. Pretty cold day. We had a little bit of a snow squall and I'm dealing with a quad issue. So I had a compression sleeve on and then put the knee sleeve over top of that and then the knee wrap so I could get all the way up to where I'm really feeling the discomfort in my lateral quad and IT band. So this is a Wenning style warm-up. I do 2 sets of 20 on the split squat, 20 per leg, and then we'll move to 25 on the Hatfield squat, 25 on the supine banded hamstring curls, and then the hip circle monster walks. So this is just empty bar, just making sure this setup works. Normally I would put the band pegs through the uprights and hold on to those. The space in my garage, it's a little more optimal if I put the spotter arms on the front of the rack, and it gives me some more space because I'm going to do the one motion stone to steel to shoulder as well. This is some of my reflexive performance reset stuff, so working on my jaw driver, primary neuromuscular compensation pattern, and then doing some belly breathing. We're just trying to lock in that nasal breathing and diaphragmatic breathing. And then I'm going to work into the diaphragm reset, psoas, and the glute reset. I try to do this every session. I don't always get there. A lot of times it's tough, like you're trying to, lock in and warm up and just get moving if you only have like an hour. But it is a good routine to just stop and like work on resetting these things. When I do the full reset, I'll usually go through zone 1, 2, and 3 after the jaw driver compensation reset. I really feel like it makes a huge difference. So those big sessions that I'm trying to really get after, I try to do it at least like 3 times a week, really get through the majority of the reset drills. So I'm going to get some weight on the bar. These have been feeling terrible. Like this session, I start and then I'm like, I feel like I'm going to vomit and I'm sweating, but it's freezing cold. And just really trying to build that GPP base, the work capacity of the legs, so the legs don't give out at any point in time. And what I've been finding is like it's the upper extremity events that I've been feeling it a lot more. The legs just going dead. So like not a yoke run, not a medley, but like log clean and press for reps, a log ladder, keg clean and press for reps. Just having to re-clean those implements, and you just kind of get shocked and eventually like hit a wall. So I feel like that's what I'm really trying to push the legs more for. I feel like the demand of press events, upper body events in strongman for the legs is more so than any lower extremity focused event for the arm. So like a yoke run, you really want that upper back tightness. I like to push out against the uprights, but like I don't feel that same amount of fatigue that I would like a log clean and press for reps, or even just like a max event. Like the amount that you have to use your hips, your legs to clean the implement up, and then leg drive, push press, it really does like present an interesting factor. So that's really what I'm trying to work on here. Split squats into Hatfields, and then get the hamstrings going. This is a good like creative way just to get some hamstring volume in as my knee wrap comes off my quad. and I'll eventually get that back on. I don't have any machines here. We have, the area set up for the cables, and then we have a 45-degree back raise. But you have to come up with some creative ways to get your assistants and your accessories in. I did a video on some of the band cable exercises that I do, but this is a really good one, and I don't think it's really used enough, just to get some extra volume in the hamstrings and really get those muscles going. I didn't get good footage for the hip circle walks for this first round, so I actually cut the hamstring out on the second one. Like, I did it, but I didn't put the film footage in. So we'll see the hip circle walks this round. Something like, you've seen, if you're into strongman, MST has really blown up a lot, and I know Shane did a video a while back talking about training with Graham Hicks and doing these short lunges with the SSB to help improve yoke speed, and I was kind of like, oh, that's interesting. And I ran this type of movement in a couple different ways my last training block, and then I had a yoke in comp, and I just felt a huge difference. Like 800 was just like no factor on my back, just tight upper back, stand up, and just the legs just move, and I didn't feel like there was a ton of weight on there. And that might seem like a lighter weight to some guys. That's just what the medley was, but I feel a lot more confident about moving within 1,000-pound yoke than I have in the past. Like I can pick 1,200, but once you start getting moving, it's a different factor. So really training some of those different demands on the legs, I felt like it's made a huge difference. You'll see I put the bar down between the split squats and the half fields just because I'm like, this is crazy, and just trying to get a little bit of a reset for myself. It's a lot of time with the bar on your back, so getting that little reset, making sure you're not putting yourself at risk for anything, and just get some good quality reps in and get through this volume work. Yeah, but this is a good setup with the band pegs and the spotter arms, and then the angle 90 handles. Definitely for the warm up, it was very ideal, and it allowed me to space out the garage a little bit more. If you ever watched some of my videos in the past in the box squats, I kind of get the monolift type unrack from just getting under the bar, and I'll put my hands against the uprights with my squat stance in place, and then just unrack and push myself back. That did not work for the current setup I have in this video, and you'll see me kind of try it, and then I eventually just take the band pegs out because they were being annoying and distracting. But for the warm up, it worked really well. So this is kind of like I have to choose what I want to prioritize. So we're here setting up the chains, and a lot of people will say to me, "Wow, this takes so much time to set up. Is it even worth it?" It's like, well, yeah, if you're learning a new setup or you're trying something different, it might take a little bit to set up, but you standardize it, and then you don't need to take as much time the next time you do this training routine. So for me, I tried an 8 on these straps with the chains for pressing. That was a little bit too low. It just didn't take as much chain off the floor as I wanted. So then I did a 7. So for this, I was like 5 maybe. No, it was more like a 4, and that was perfect. So you just have to figure it out, and then put the notes in your training log, and next time this is what I put the J cup at for the rack, and this is what I put the the strap at for chains, or where I put the band peg for bands, and it literally takes a quarter of the time, like the rest of the training block, as you use that setup. So now we're getting in the first couple sets of squats. I end up doing 10 sets, 10 doubles with 330 and 80 pounds of chains. So this is just 240 right now, the first couple warm-up sets. With the warm-ups in this dynamic effort day, I'll still do 2 sets just to kind of get everything moving and really get myself fired up. And then here's just the one motion stone to shoulder with the empty stone, so it's 135. I'm gonna put 225 on there today. But I really like this combination, and the one motion stone to shoulder has been a game changer for my stone to shoulder. I pride myself in being an exceptional stone loader, and then I hate stone to shoulder. Like, I've had a miserable time with it, and really learning how to get my hips moving and fight through that aspect when it's kind of right on your chest and you're trying to roll it to your shoulder and then lock it onto your shoulder and have your head in the right position and, lock that stone in and be able to hold it and take the arm off. I've really made a lot of progress with that, and like having the bark to stone of steel has been big. So these are the first couple sets with 330. I kind of like did a couple sets, and then I was like, okay, now it's time to move fast and like round after round and get it in. So I'm gonna hit the stone, but then it moves a little faster. I guess after that, I think this first stone did not feel good, and I was like, okay, like here we go. So I just did a single. I will make up for that later and did 3 reps at the end because I usually will try to go both shoulders for this routine. But we're gonna get back to the squats and really sitting and now just trying to kind of pause there momentarily and then shoot back up. I was doing like some 4-second pauses, so sit back and like wait there for a while. But now with the accommodating resistance, I've transitioned it back to just kind of sitting back and waiting a minute and then pulling myself off the box and trying to be explosive with it. And this kind of gets into a lot of stuff Louis Simmons would talk about. Like, you have the dynamic and the static portions of the squat, but then with a box squat, you get the resting component. So it's you know resting overcome by dynamic and static is instead of just like a dynamic and static setup. So you squat down on a free squat. I mean, you can pause, but like you have that reversal point at the bottom of the squat, and there's just that static point where you're down there, and it's like a momentary pause there in the bottom of the squat. There's no rest, like you're always on tension. Whereas you sit onto a box, the box squat, you get that resting component, and then you have to be able to pull yourself off, and you really just keep the abdominals tight, and the hip flexors will be on because your hips are flexed. So other than that, you try to relax other muscles. I've done it some different ways. I've sat on the box and like try to keep more tight, but doing a little bit more of the time under tension with the dynamic effort, I was really trying to give it a try to sit all the way back. I felt like these move pretty well. I'm doing all of these beltless and just trying to move fast with them, like get sets in quickly, but also move with speed and get the bar moving. So I cut that time between out, but I'm really just sitting on the box for like 30 seconds and then getting back under the bar and moving it again. But that time in between the squat sets, it really is where I can also rest, or like you see how my plates are wobbling around, reset the collars. But then after this set, when I move to the stone, like that's when I really need to move because I only have 10 to 20 seconds to get to the stone. And that's just using like the principles of like a contrast method. You're going to see me disappear because this was not filmed well. But if you look at the banner back there, Not Dead Yet banner, I have not done a good job of it, but I am an affiliate with them, Fox Strength and Performances. So here's the code. if you want to check out their merch and products and stuff and use that. I get a little bit of something back for it. So I would appreciate the support, and I'm gonna definitely try to get more on top of that. But I realized that this wasn't filmed well, so I moved it, and I think this is where I go for 3. And I was pretty shook up after the first one, but then I was like, this one felt good, so I'm like, let's push it again. And I cut this back, but pull the stone back off the crash pad. Let's go for one more, and that felt like one of the best ones right there. And I was really confident in it. I think this might only be the second time that I've done 225 on it, and I felt like it was pretty heavy last year when I ran this, so I'm definitely looking forward to spending some more time. Get rid of the chains. Yeah, spending some more time with that weight. And for any of you fake plate haters or just oh, I don't know what was in there. Here's the load. Take the spacers out, and dump the plates out. But there's 2 plates in there. An interesting thing, having a home gym, nobody messes with my stone or hides the spacers all around the gym, or they lose the handle. That stuff would always annoy me so much, going to other gyms. I remember I brought a hanging strap into a gym, and I would go to use it, and then the carabiners would be missing from it, and it's well, there's extra carabiners available at the gym, but you for some reason had to take those. So it's just nice. I'm gonna clean all that chalk off the stone. I'm putting everything back in it. I know where everything is for it. Nobody touches my stuff, except my fiance and sometimes my kids, and definitely my dogs. And now we're gonna get into the accessories. So I know some people might not be a fan of it, but I've really felt like I've gotten a lot out of this straddle landmine deadlift, and really working just the mid portion of the deadlift and focusing on the glutes. So I did some pauses at the top the previous 3 weeks, and now I'm really trying to emphasize the bottom portion. So pause every rep at the bottom, and then an 8-second hold at the bottom, and completion of the last rep is what I'm looking for. And then this has been an interesting development discovery. Kind of came up with a linear hack squat variation off of the cable stack. I've literally done so many different variations of a hack squat. I've done a pendulum squat, halo squat with the SSB out in front, hooked up with the gymnastic rings and cables, everything else. I tried bands on it, got very complicated. It was winter, I almost slipped and died. And then I've done the spudding strap for hanging, the hanging strap on the low row attachments, but then I try to pull it over my head and kind of get it on my shoulders, and that's uncomfortable. So it's usually an assistance movement I would do with my hoodie on or something. But I was up at the War Room in North Jersey, Ray Padilla's gym, very good spot. I was talking to him too, and he was like, "I'm looking for machines that don't stress my lifters members as much. A lot of power lifters here, so they're looking for stuff that's not going to load the spine as much to do some extra volume on." And I love the linear hack squat he got. And then I came up with this idea, just kind of putting the strap kind of in that same position, small lower back, but it's really the top of the pelvis. And what you do, you take the weight off, and then I sit down and try to kind of wiggle my hips to get the strap neutral and get the weight evenly dispersed. And then it's really just knee extension from here, and I'm just holding on to the band pegs and to balance myself. And I'll show a side angle of it, but I've been looking at some different ways to increase the range of motion, but the emphasis on the quads is crazy. So we'll get into the last set of the Landmine Straddle deadlift. This I felt like was pretty intense. So this was 6 plates. And you see, like, getting that pause just off the ground, which I feel like is a really uncomfortable position. And it's also like something like you looked at with a lot of big deadlifters, like with a barbell, they would try to train this like range of motion, this that midway, like creating a lot of power through there to keep the bar moving. Especially in strongman, you can like if you can move through that zone and you get it towards the top, like you can hitch and lock it out if it stops moving. Yeah, so I kneel, get that strap in the right position. You definitely want to make sure the strap is set up well, and if it's not, you start, you got to bail because that's slipping off with the amount of like cable stack weight. Like it's gonna be a bad situation, but it's worked out pretty well for me. So wiggle the hips a little bit, get it evenly dispersed. Yeah, and then it's just really like pure knee extension load on the quads. And I've been doing some 15s with this. And this is the first week. I really went 15, 12, 10 to get some heavier weight on there. And it's just a great way, but also like a low stress way to finish the session because I'm doing a lot of work. But anyway, I thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, leave them below. As always, thank you for supporting Fox Strength and Performance. Until next time, keep crushing it and hold strong.